Broadcasting to you on WNN 1470 AM and TrentoVision.tv from the world's leading think tank laboratory, buried deep in an undisclosed building in hostile territory where evil and corruption is exposed. You're about to enter the Tom Trento Show.
Now order, all hands man your battle fingers.
Tom Trento heads United West, a group that says it defends Western civilization against the onslaught of Islam.
All right. Before we get to the new opening, let me read this breaking news here. We have in Italy right now on Monday, just a couple of minutes after 5 o'clock, July 1st, we have millions of Christians rioting and going after the headquarters of the Muslim Brotherhood in Italy. And in Poland, we have millions of Jewish people rioting, going after the Jewish Brotherhood. Wait, something's wrong.
Hold on, Tom. Yeah, I think you're reading
things
that.
wrong
Yeah, you
with
got a
that,
little
I think.
misreading of that.
I think I got some bad copy here.
Who wrote that script?
What's there? What's going on?
I don't.
Oh, I'm sorry. Millions of Muslims are rioting worldwide on this Maniac Monday, the bookend to Jumpin' Juma Freaky Friday. This is Maniac Monday here on TrentoVision.tv. Good afternoon, everybody. Good to have you with us after a Maniac weekend. Indeed, right now in Egypt, in Cairo, you probably, what do you think, CJ? Think you can get a reduced price on a tour to Alexandria these days?
Yeah, I think you can, but I don't know if you want to go over there if you're an American.
Or Cairo. Can you make it to Cairo, Egypt? We have millions of Muslims. And this is bizarre, folks. And we have an expert with us in just a few moments.
A few minute? Yeah.
Dr. what?
A few minute?
A few minute. Fu Manchu will be with us. That's the Chinese food we order all the time around here. Dr. Andy Bostom will be with us to make some sense out of what is going on in Egypt. He can't.
He can't because there is no sense.
No,
But we literally have millions of Muslims who a year ago put Mohammed Morsi into the presidency, now are demanding that he gets out. Oh, those fickle little Muslim folks. And sadly, over the weekend, we had in Syria animals, savages. When Pamela Geller talks about the savage, and I forced myself to watch the footage of savages beheading a Christian Syrian bishop, and it was and little kids laughing. We have Muslims killing Muslims in Syria, killing everybody else, and we're here on this show, Trento Vision, on WNN 1470, to provide information, education as to this monolithic movement worldwide, the jihad, and how it affects you at home right here in beautiful South Florida. That's what our show is about. And thank you. More and more of you are joining, watching, and listening on WNN 1470. Be sure to watch our good friends Steve and Brian 6 to 9 every single morning. And Holly Meredith. Holly's pretty sharp.
She's doing pretty
She
good.
is.
She comes on at 4 o'clock.
She's gangbusters.
She lays the groundwork, prepares the battle space for us here on Trento Vision at 5 o'clock every day. Holly is a tough lady.
She is.
Doesn't mess
really,
around.
Really smart.
Take no prisoners on Holly. So we want you to follow us on Twitter at The United West by way of remembrance. We work at theunitedwest.org, a counterterrorism educational organization. Please go to our website, theunitedwest.org, subscribe so that you can get all our great stuff we send out. And another good friend of ours, Bonnie, Bonni, at barenakedislam.org. Barenakedislam.org. Go to that website. Bonnie is on the cutting edge of Islamic Jihad, and she provides her fascinating commentary, barenakedislam.org. And we have one of her videos on Tommy Robinson we'll show you a little later.
She's got guts, that lady.
She's got guts. And then on a very sad note, at the beginning of our show, our condolences to the 19 brave kids, basically kids. Average age was 22 years old, who got surprised by the firestorm in Arizona. And 19 of them lost their lives yesterday fighting that vicious fire. So our condolences from all of us here to the families and friends.
That was horrible, Tom.
Yeah, brave,
Horrible.
brave kids. And
these were trained, experienced firefighters too.
they knew what they were doing. It
They
was
were-
just
Yeah.
unfortunate, perfect storm, perfect firestorm. No pun intended. It was a perfect firestorm, and it got them. So, but right now, is that slimy little guy back? Our little friend.
Excuse me?
Oh yes.
Hello, little friend.
Hello, little friend.
Hello, infidels.
Yay!
We.
I've missed hearing that.
Where have you been? Because some of the folks
He was on a
recently.
You've been on the
I had,
Hajj?
Did you go on the Hajj?
No. I went to Pakistan. I have a wedding to attend. My niece and nephew are married.
Oh, only 19
to each
people.
other.
Yes. My brother's daughter and my sister's son got married to each other. It was beautiful, and I was also able to sit in as observer status for the peace talks between Afghanistan Taliban and your United States. It was fantastic.
He was the
A little
observant
business, a
fly
little
on the
pleasure.
wall.
So you keep it in the family on the marriage part.
Absolutely.
And then you went to the peace talks. Good. I think only 19 died. Was it 19 over the weekend in bomb explosions in Pakistan?
Very, very slow weekend.
Now, are the Americans there killing Pakistan? The Pakistanis?
Occasionally, you will have a CIA member forced to defend himself against some undesirables, as you call.
Did we kill the 19 now, or was that?
No. That
that-
is us killing each other. It's
Okay.
typical fashion.
Oh, no
Just to
big-
be clear, so we're not actually responsible for that.
Well, in a way, you are responsible because between the big Satan, you and the little Satan is behind most of world's evils. Yes.
Okay.
So it's pretty much just the fact that we're breathing is just enough to set you off killing each other.
Yes, you said it, not me, but yes.
Okay.
Okay, well, speaking of the little Satan, Israel, we
Satan.
need those of you who are coming on the trip with us September 30th for about 10 days. Need you to contact me, Tom, at TrentoVision.tv. This week, next week, last week. We got to close everything off at the end of next week. And it's going to be a fabulous trip, $2,600 for the ground portion, air portion, however you can get there. You can swim across the ocean. You can use your tickets, your miles, whatever.
Flap your
points.
wings.
Yes, but you need to come on a trip of a lifetime, so be sure to do that.
Yes, and please let us know if you like red or white for your wine.
Yes, please do.
We'll get that ready. At 8 minutes after 5 o'clock, WNN 1470, Tom Trento, your host. CJ right there. Hi, how are you?
Good.
And the boys back there. The boys are
The
back.
fabulous Bunker Boys.
Everybody's
Yay.
back. Now, that opening, who put that thing together? That's
Could we show it again? Because for those who might have missed the
You'll-
opening
you'll-
of the
Very
show.
exciting.
You want? Can you do it? All right, we'll show it.
Yeah, well, we'll show it here.
We'll show
it.
it.
Hold on.
Then we'll bring
Hold on,
our
hold
Dr.
on.
Bostom.
Yeah.
Then we'll bring our doctor in here.
Okay,
Can
here
we
we
cue
go.
it up? Hold on, just a second.
Yeah,
Just a second.
I think so. It's pretty spiffy.
Looks like we are preparing for World War III or something. Well, I
It
guess
remind
we
me
are.
of my trip to Pakistan.
Yes,
Here, I'll play
ideologically.
the opening again. So
All right, here we go. Here we go.
Broadcasting to you on WNN 1470 AM and TrentoVision.tv from the world's leading think tank laboratory, buried deep in an undisclosed building in hostile territory where evil and corruption is exposed. You're about to enter the Tom Trento Show.
Now orders, all hands man your battle station.
Tom Trento heads United West, a group that says it defends Western civilization against the onslaught of Islam.
Yeah.
I'd like to meet that guy.
Don't practice this
I
at
know
home,
him.
little kiddies.
I know him, man.
Little kiddies, don't practice this at home with that. It was a fake cigar. It wasn't real smoke. It was
we
all
don't drink
theatrical.
Guiro wine either.
And we are not part of the United States military. We just like showing video of things
Blowing
going.
up.
We fight ideologically, and one of the best warriors,
Yes.
one of the best counter-jihad ideological warriors that we know,
In this
comes from us out of the Northeast right now. Welcome, Dr. Andy Bostom. Hello, Andy. How
Hi,
are you?
Andy.
Hey, Dr. Andy
Hi,
Boston.
everybody.
Hello, hello. Welcome back to the show. Everything good before we get into the meat of the afternoon? Everything good on your part? You keeping the communists at bay up there in the Northeast?
Yeah, it's a difficult job, but someone's got to do it.
Okay.
He kind of looks like he's in a bunker
Yeah, he
himself.
does.
Yeah, you
doesn't
do.
he?
Bunker. He's got
You
the
know.
bunker shirt on. At least,
Yeah.
too, you know?
Well, Andy, it was a wild weekend. We heard there were going to be protests in Egypt. You have written extensively on the Egyptian revolution and all this other stuff. And I think many people are shocked at the number of Egyptians that are turning out against the guy they elected a year ago, June 30th.
Yeah. Millions.
Yeah.
16 dead and 781 wounded, injured since Sunday. I just looked online at Al Aram. It looks like heading for chaos. The army has given Morsi an ultimatum, and again, I just saw in another flash on Al Aram that he's supposed to make an address tonight, their time. Now, how many hours ahead are they? Because maybe are they only 6 hours ahead or more? Because
5 or 6.
it said
Yeah.
9
6
p.m.
hours.
local
Yeah,
time.
6 or 7.
Israel
actually.
6, London 5.
Then
so there's
then
6, yeah.
then it would be 6. Yeah. So a few more hours he'll be making Morsi will be making an address again in response to this ultimatum by the army that they would take over. What's curious though is that as we saw in Turkey, which was a much slower and more insidious process perhaps. There's been a considerable re-Islamization, or whatever you want to call it, desecularization of the Egyptian army as well. So one begins to wonder if it's such a sure thing that a more secular-leaning, power group would emerge even out of the army at this stage. But it's all who knows? Who knows?
Well, here's the confusing part. And we're the experts. We're supposed to kind of analyze this stuff and be a step ahead of the NBC, ABC people in telling Americans what is taking place. And here's where I'm confused. You have done extensive work. We have done extensive work on the polling that's been done in Egypt. And it's definitive. Every time a name brand polling company does a significant professional poll, it's 70, 80, 90%, somewhere in there,
Always the
Sharia
same, yeah.
compliant. We want it. We love it. That's what we're all about. They elect a Muslim brother who wants to make the country Sharia compliant, and now they want to throw him out. What the hell's going on?
But then there's also bread and butter issues, employment issues. I don't want to be one to defend Morsi, but what on earth could he possibly have achieved? In the few months he's actually had power in a country that's as chaotic as Egypt, and that's going through what amounts to an economic depression. I don't understand it, but it seems to me as if they everything that they're complaining about Morsi were the former complaints about Mubarak.
Mubarak, yeah.
So that have more to do with practical outcomes than with deeply ingrained religious ideology. So I don't know, and it's not clear what there's this mass opposition, but it's not as if they're behaving any better than the way the so-called jihadists were accused of behaving, just some months earlier. So it looks just like chaos at this point.
So the headline is Dr. Andy Bostom supports Morsi in
I hate to be too crass about it, but the book that keeps going through my mind is something I used to read for the kids called A Million Cats. Where at the end of a terrible conflagration, this old couple that wants to adopt a cat, they have to essentially decimate each other, and there's one nice little kitten that emerges out of it. So I don't know.
Well, it's bizarre. You, CJ, you got any feeling or thought on what the heck is happening?
Are there any nice little kittens in Egypt?
Yeah.
Again, I think there are some truly Western-leaning, real secularists in that country, and certainly there's the Coptic minority that, going back, through the original French and British colonization periods, always had a strong secular current. But those experiments were tried over 2 centuries, and they seem to have been rejected too. So I don't know what to expect.
Well, even when they're secular, don't they still hate Jews? And isn't the Coptic community getting wiped out and much
British
smaller?
colonial rule, yes, obviously that still existed, but there was an attempt to import Western models under both French and British tutelage. It's true. I don't think the anti-Semitism went away during that period, but as a Jew, one gets used to that as being a constant. So I would say that the larger sort of model of Western-style secularism was completely rejected. So now they're off on some other experiment, which always looks like they're coming back to what you would have think they would have gotten via the Muslim Brotherhood. So it's very chaotic.
Mark,
Dr. Boston, I got a question for you. With any problem, you need to go back to the source of the problem, because without that fixing the source of the problem, it's kind of like trying to plug a hole without fixing the hole first. And the source of this actually comes out of the ideology of Islam, and the festering sore, if you will, is coming out of Al-Azhar University, pumping out imam after imam after imam after imam who's a Muslim Brotherhood radical. How can the beheadings not continue in Egypt without plugging up that source of chaos?
Well, look, I mean, they are trapped by the tenets and the mores of Islam, and again, Al-Azhar has had some slightly better grand imams over the past century. But you're right. I mean, none of them. When there was an attempt, for example, even back in the 1920s, to formally renounce the caliphate by an Al-Azhar cleric who was truly Western and secular leaning, he was treated he was expelled and essentially would be the Catholic Church equivalent of being excommunicated.
As he should have been.
So right, as the imam will tell you. So Al-Raziq, I believe, was his name, I think they're still trapped in this closed circle of traditionalist Islam.
All right, well, here's where we are, folks. 20 minutes after 5 o'clock on July 1st. Get ready for 4th of July. Be careful with those fireworks, please. We will have a 4th of July special on Thursday, July 4th. That's a good day to have a 4th of July special. But what we're doing today, July 1st, 2013, Monday, 20 minutes past 5 o'clock, WNN 1470 if you're driving in your automobile. You got to watch this show, though. So go to our archives, which we're going to put up on the screen right now. YouTube/The United West, right there. Go to the date, it'll say TrentoVision, July 1st. Watch the show, because we have a lot of B-roll, a lot of interesting stuff. What we're doing today is trying to figure out what the heck is going on, specifically in Egypt, and then on a more uniquely generalistic level, what's going on with the Muslim Brotherhood. Because 1 year ago, they were feeling their oats after 30 years of basically being excluded from Egyptian life. They took the country over and moved very quickly to put operations more closely with the Hamas, then going into Iran. They started putting relations together with Iran, came over to Syria, working with Al-Qaeda there, trying to throw over the Shia government, coming down into Jordan and threatening King Hussein in Jordan, putting a ring of Muslim Brotherhood fire around Israel. But now the Brotherhood could be imploding. And my quick analysis, then CJ, we'll hear from you. Then we're going to have to get a final word from the good doctor. My quick analysis is most people are sheep. And a year ago, you know, when it was Muslim Brotherhood, Morsi, yeah, let's go at him, oh, and all the crowds go that way.
I love what the news said this morning. I was watching the MSNBC this morning, and they're saying, yes, now that we know that it is a Muslim Brotherhood-led takeover a year ago with Mr. Morsi, that the students are sitting there up and rising again.
Unbelievable.
And it's like, guys, which we should actually play back.
Unbelievable. There. Yeah, we do. We need to get some of that copy then. But through this past year, really, I mean, they can't get fuel, they can't get bread, they can't get anything, and they have increased technological capability. They being more and more Muslims who are seeing what's going on in the world, and seeing what's going on in the West, and seeing the Muslim Brotherhood and Obama welcoming Muslims like crazy in America. So they're going, hey, you know, maybe it is better. I think there's going to be a big influx into America coming out of Egypt.
That would be fantastic.
Syria is going to happen.
Yeah.
But now that there's an economic reason to turn against Morsi, they're all going, yeah, let's go against him.
30%. I mean, 30 and under represents 25% of the population, and 25% of that population is actually unemployed. So everybody's unemployed there.
But they still wanted a Sharia-compliant government.
Yes.
So it's the tension and the battle between their ideology and their little kid that's had their little mouths like this that they want to eat, you know.
To quote Dr. Morsi upon his election, it was first the Sharia, then the Sharia, and finally the Sharia.
That's right.
I love this.
The Sharia, no corn, no bread, no food. CJ, a thought, then we'll let Andy close us out.
Yeah, I have a question for Andy, really. When we talk about Western secularism in Egypt, really the personification of that to me is this young kid, Andrew Pochter. Mm. He is the embodiment of what Western secularism really is. What's the model in the Western world? Is it the United States? Is it Scandinavia? Is it Great Britain? What's the model
Bostom
for it?
Yeah, I guess I was thinking of a more, you know, pre FDR era West, but you're right. You know, we have to be honest that this tragically slaughtered young man is certainly a modern manifestation of it. Although his indoctrination really makes him, I would say, very favorably inclined, unfortunately, to groups like the Muslim Brotherhood.
Exactly. That's exactly the point.
Hang on. Give everybody, not everyone knows what we're talking about here.
Andrew Pochter was stabbed to death this past Friday in Alexandria, witnessing some of the rioting there. According to sources that I was able to, gather up over the internet, at least local reporting, Twitter, etc.
We have him on the screen right now. For those of you watching, Andrew Pochter, Pochter, is the young kid on the left. They're doing some poetic reading. He's a Jewish kid. He's reading with a Palestinian person in some dramatic poetic nonsense.
Yeah.
But that's who he is. He is dead. Dr. Andy Bostom is explaining what happened. Go ahead, Andy.
So the late young Mr. Proctor may have been approached by someone who asked him if he was an American, and he said he was, and then the knife was plunged into his chest near his heart, and he bled to death. He had a history of being going on a State Department-sponsored language training a few years ago. I guess he was a senior in high school, maybe a freshman in college at that time, and getting trained in Arabic in Morocco, staying with a family there. He was currently, he's a religious studies major. He was currently working for an organization called, all in caps, A Mideast, which is an organization that's been in existence for 60 years. You know, seems to do some Peace Corps-like work, but on the other hand, I found that just this past February, they, upon the retirement of Grand Mufti of Al-Azhar University, Sheikh Gomea, they gave him a plaque for his alleged ecumenical work. And, you know, of course, once you look at the actual fatwas and pronouncements of Sheikh Gomea, he was hardly ecumenical by our standards. He was promoting jihad against the usual suspects, most notably Israel, engaged in anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, and perhaps sanctioned beating women, killing apostates. And most ominously, Ray Ibrahim translated a sermon of his which Ray believes may have very well led to the rioting that took place in Maspero that killed a number of cops and wounded hundreds. So this was not an ecumenist who should have been awarded by this agency that was sponsoring the late young Mr. Proctor. But the reason I say that he might have been favorably inclined towards a Muslim Brotherhood style ideology is that the first piece that he ever wrote as a cub reporter, essentially for Al Arabiya, when he was finishing had finished his training in Morocco, his Arabic training, was something eerily called the acquisition of reality, and in it he laments the fact that although King Mohammed VI had released 90 imprisoned jihadists, he's happy about that. What he laments is that there were 100 more, as he points out, in prison who the Moroccan despot hadn't released yet. So, you know, you begin to wonder about whether he had himself become too favorably inclined with the regional Muslim Brotherhood ideology, and he certainly bought into the immoral equivalence between the so-called Palestinian narrative and the creation of Israel as a Jewish state on a portion of its ancestral homeland liberated from the Sharia. So he had absolutely no conception of these things, and in two pieces that I wrote about him over the weekend and then an earlier blog this morning, I'm tired of blaming these kids. I'm beginning to think that you know, they're too young, they're too immature. It's an indoctrination that begins in junior high school, certainly by high school. And what are we to expect? I mean, how many of these kids are going to be strong enough, are going to be independent thinking enough to escape this Islamophilic indoctrination that they get and turn out with the same sort of delusions that this poor young man entertained? I don't really feel comfortable blaming these kids any longer. Of course, in the end, they bear some responsibility, but I think the overwhelming burden is on family, school, religious school, State Department institutions, etc., that are creating thousands just like him.
Yep. No, that is a very, very serious problem. And the campuses we've been on, many of the pro-Israel, pro-Jewish groups are often protesting against us as we're fighting the jihad. And I think his mother, Andrew Proctor's mother, wrote that Andrew had the wonderful view that there are no nations, just groups of people.
Just one happy caliphate.
Just one happy caliphate.
Right.
Well, and you know, he was a co-director of the campus Hillel. and the Campus
All right.
Hillel
There you go.
has morphed from just being an organization that provided some services to maintain a religious Jewish identity for students on campus that were busy, to becoming actively involved in this whole, I would say, negationist politics of the Middle East. If you want to delve into Middle East politics and you're not willing to discuss the doctrines and history of Islam in an honest manner, which really depicts, the bread and butter facts of how the region was Islamized via the institution of jihad, then I am now of the strong opinion that you stay out of it altogether. Because if you're not willing to be honest about those basic facts, then your whole approach is dishonest. So stay the heck out of it.
All right.
That should apply to the government, too.
Yep. We're going to have to leave you on that note, Dr. Andy Bostom. How can somebody get in touch with you to read your writings on this?
Just at my website, www.andrewbostom, my name in lowercase, .org/blog. I'm also now on Twitter, at Andrew Bostom.
Okay, we'll tweet you and tweet us back. Good seeing you. Good talking with you. Thank you for your great work.
Take care, Tom.
All right, bye-bye. Dr. Andy Bostom at 31 minutes after 5 o'clock. Monday afternoon, July 1st. What a sad situation with Andrew.
What a way to start this.
Seemed like a wonderful kid who had a good heart, just was led down that, almost an anti-Israel position. Almost that in terms of Israel's defense of their homeland. And goes into Alexandria in the middle of a friggin' Muslim Brotherhood protest riot.
Yeah.
Talk about, clueless. Yeah,
it's the cluelessness is the same of the leftist revolutionaries. They don't realize that come the revolution, they're the first to
dead,
go. Do you think you could just put up a sign and say, "I'm not that kind of an American"?
Yeah, exactly. But our prayers to his family, Andrew Poch, P-O-C-H-T-E-R, Pochter.
Yeah, I think I mispronounced that.
We'll follow that story because it's a tough one. All right, everybody. How is everybody doing here on this Monday? Abdullah,
yes,
everything
my
okay
friend.
with you?
Yes, I'm a little jet lag, long flight. Back to this terrible American food. It was nice to get a good Pakistani food while I was there.
You
And
enjoyed
happy to be back with you.
Okay, it's good to have you back.
Good to see that the Muslim
And your
world is-
brothers are happy partying, celebrating over in Egypt again.
Look at that picture in Egypt.
It's,
It's crazy.
What do you call those things? Schmores. They're cooking schmores.
S'mores, off the balcony of the Muslim Brotherhood balcony. So,
Well, as of right now, the Army, now this is really bizarre, folks. The military, now how much, does anybody know the actual tax dollar number, American tax dollars, that went into aiding and abetting the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt through the Obama administration, which has 6 Muslim Brotherhood advisors? How much money have we sent to Mohammed?
About $3 billion, is it?
3 billion or so. How much equipment? How much?
Don't forget about
Friggin' country is going to explode.
Don't forget
And
about
we
the
armed
airplanes
them.
and the tanks
Yeah.
and everything else that we give them. And this is the result. This is what we get.
Might I recommend for them to maybe stop killing each other for a little while? There's a very tiny country just to the north of them, and that there is nothing can bring Muslims together quite like bashing Jews.
That's right.
And one person could probably bring us together on all this is the same person, who's
the Messiah.
Well, no. Actually, a
Mahdi?
singer who actually probably has a solution in the Middle East
Oh no.
for the whole Muslim uprising, and
I don't have that.
who's on a very prideful singing the national anthem. And
She's later on. We're going to bring her later.
But she could actually unite.
She
could unite it
everybody.
under the gay
Yeah, I'm sure
agenda.
She would be killed in less than 30 seconds in Tahrir Square.
But let's look at the jihad, folks. Tom, Trento, CJ, Mark, Abdullah. We're providing information about Islamic Jihad because no one does this kind of work to the level and degree we do. And we do it because it is the future. And you're going to see the repercussions of what's taking place in the Middle East at your gas tank. You're going to see it in your politics here. You're going to see it on all areas. So we're making you aware of it and preparing you to deal with it. Right now we got Egypt. It's going to explode. I mean, nothing good is going to happen in the next 48 hours. But let's go to that bastion of free speech, that bastion of independence and liberty. Let's go to the United Kingdom. Tomorrow, you're not going to believe. Tomorrow we have Pamela Geller, and we're trying to get Robert Spencer also. They took a little trip to the UK over the weekend and were
Banned.
And were not allowed in. Americans not allowed in. That's tomorrow's show. Right now, let's take a quick look at one of the counter-jihad leaders in England. His pseudonym is Tommy Robinson. And he heads up a group called the EDL, English Defense League.
I hate that man so much, Tom Trento, I cannot even begin to tell you.
Is he a he-devil?
He's a he-devil.
He's a he-devil. Right.
He went on a little...
One of the worst people in all of this world.
He wanted to have a little memorial service for a young woman, a young girl, I think it was. And he had this memorial walk, small thing. And watch what happened. We're just going to show you a minute or two. We're going to explain it, but we're going to make a very important point from how the UK is treating its citizens and our citizens. Take a look at this.
We're going to be arrested if we wipe that way. Tommy, listen to me. Yeah. This is now Aldgate East Junction, Mansell Street, which is the line in the sand as I described as far as going any further down towards the East London Mosque. Okay? That is what I said to you earlier. It's all been recorded, as you well know. The line in the sand.
If we walk down here?
You could leave yourself
let me
liable to arrest if you
translate.
continue any further that way.
Pause there for a second. Tommy Robinson and his partner, what's his partner's name? Steve
Kevin.
something or other? Kevin, whatever it is. Kevin are asking the bobbies, the British bobbies, which way do you want us to go? We're going to follow your rules. And they have that, is it Cockney? Is it a Cockney accent or a
Yeah,
London
they definitely have
accent?
classes. It'd be like a Southern accent in comparison to in the United States. So it's not
Okay.
a real respected
It's not
accent.
the refined accent.
Right.
It's like talking redneck to these guys.
Okay.
right?
Kevin Carroll is his name.
Kevin
Yeah.
Carroll. All right, so they're asking the police, which way do you want us to go? We'll follow your direction. So they follow direction, they start walking in the direction, and a counter protester swings and hit Kevin Carroll in the face. Watch this.
If there's tensions in the community from the violent mob, shouldn't you be dealing with the violent mob? Not people expressing it.
How far
The top stand is there, right?
You could see how violent and disruptive these
Arrest him for assault! Arrest him for assault! Arrest him for assault! Arrest him for assault! Arrest him for assault!
Okay, now, what just happened is Tommy Robinson and Kevin Carroll were walking down the street. Somebody that disagreed, it wasn't a Muslim, it was just a white guy disagreed with him, turns around and punches Kevin Carroll in the face, and Tommy Robinson is saying to the police, arrest him, he just hit us, it's assault, arrest him, arrest him. And if you can cue up where Tommy gets arrested.
Tommy and
Tommy
Kevin
gets
got
Tommy and
arrested.
Kevin, yep.
Yeah.
And I'll fast forward all the way to the...
And tomorrow when we have Pamela Geller, she was on her way to meet with Tommy Robinson. So she'll give us some insight into
This was actually to
situation,
lay
too.
a wreath for drummer Rigby.
It's
This was originally to lay a wreath for drummer Rigby.
that's what this was?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is
No, Pamela's
right.
walk
This
was
is
that.
the walk she was supposed to be at.
Oh, I thought they have a picture of a little baby on their shirts. I think there was something like that. But do you have the? We don't. If you don't have it, we don't.
Yeah, no, it's just a matter of where a cue.
Yeah, it's hard to understand them because they have that accent.
Carefully. Listen carefully.
We'll go this way then.
You are both under arrest.
You are both under arrest.
Obstructing police.
Right, so you're under arrest.
No, you didn't. No, we said whatever way you tell us if we're going to get arrested.
You are.
We asked you to tell us 100% yes or no.
We said
Lots of times
if you said you walk down there, you get arrested. We
we'll
won't
go
walk
the
down
way
there.
you want to go, but you didn't
But you're
say
not
that.
doing
now
that.
made the decision that you are being arrested for obstructing police.
Obstructing the
Because
police,
you are
doing a charity walk.
obstructing-
We're not obstructing anyone.
We're not obstructing
You
anyone.
are
We're trying to do a charity
You are
walk.
obstructing senior officers in their attempts to keep.
We have been in this situation many times, and have avoided getting arrested. He did nothing wrong. And the other guy swung at them, hit them. They did everything they were supposed to do. Tommy Robinson and Kevin Carroll get arrested in the United Kingdom.
It reminds me down there what happened in Tallahassee, where Bassam Al-Wahabi came from behind the thing and slugged us.
Hit you, yeah.
And we really had to press the cops to get him arrested. And I can imagine how much worse it is over there. I mean, at least they arrested, Bassam Al-Wahabi and charged him.
Right.
They didn't even arrest the guy who hit him.
Yeah. And what happened in Dearborn?
Yeah. And look at
That's
Dearborn
what
with Alan
happens in
Corman.
Dearborn, right?
With Alan Corman, when he got spit
Somebody
on.
gets attacked by Muslims,
Right.
and then the person who is attacked is the one who gets arrested.
I love this.
And the
causing
police tell them that their presence, just the fact that they're there, is inflammatory to the person who attacked them, and they shouldn't have been there to begin with.
We get told that. Now, this is not in the UK. We got told that exact same thing back in Tallahassee by the cops at Tallahassee. They said, Mr. Campbell, you and Mr. Corman are going to have to leave this area because you're causing a disturbance. And
Right.
we're not doing anything. We haven't said a word. We've been filming. We've been very polite. It says, well, your presence is offending others that are here.
Exactly.
It offends our Muslim sensibilities and sensitivities.
Our presence
Yeah.
is offensive.
And I don't know the geography of where this peaceful march was taking place, but the police in London are enforcing Sharia compliance on all the residents of the city. They're protecting the no-go zones against non-Muslim intrusion into those areas, and I wonder if this peaceful protest wasn't taking place too close to a no-go zone, and they were making sure that they didn't go into a halal neighborhood.
And here's the point you're making, CJ, and it's really a great point, is cops are there to stop things from happening. So if they see they know the one group is going to react violently.
Right.
So therefore, they remove the other group who might be malleable, might be malleable, and say, okay, you guys need to go. Why? We're not doing anything
Well, here's
wrong.
why. This is the point we're making, folks. We showed you the explosions going on, literally and figuratively, in Egypt. The whole culture, the whole country of about 75 million people is just in upheaval, our new word, upheaval. And what happens as a result of that, and whenever you capitulate to a bully, the bully gets stronger and the good guys get weaker. Whatever's going to happen in Egypt, the globe is going to fear Muslims more because they're just going to kill each other, and the West is going to go, man, we want no part of that. So how do you defend yourself against bullies that want to just devastate and cause mass mayhem and destruction? You remove yourself from that situation. And if somebody wants to walk on principle and say, I'm not removing myself from the public street and doing something good, then in London now, you saw Tommy Robinson get arrested when another guy hit him because the bobbies, the police know that those of us on this side of the counter-jihad battle, we're not going to riot, we're not going to get guns, we're not going to do crazy stuff. We're law-abiding citizens. But when the law fails you, that's when there's going to be serious problems ahead. So we're making the world and Americans aware of these dynamics, these metrics that are occurring, so that we can always maintain the rule of law in the United States. Critically important. When American citizens like Pamela, tomorrow's show, Geller, aren't allowed into England because of the threat of her appearance, what? I don't understand.
Look at the terrorists they let in and roll out the red carpet for them and their 4 wives and their 4 wives' wives, and all their children are welfare dependent, and they're preaching sedition and jihad on the streets, and these guys are allowed into the country, and Pamela Geller, who's there to walk for free speech,
To lay the wreath for drummer Rigsby.
to lay a wreath for somebody who was beheaded by a jihadi. She's the one who's not allowed in the country?
Tomorrow's show. Don't miss it. But watch what happens now. We've just gone from Egypt, the mess there, as President Obama's trying to figure out what he should do. And he actually told the cops through some of his spokespeople not to protest the Muslim Brotherhood. It's interesting. Then we went to London to show you how the global fear of Islamic jihad can cause good people to do bad things. But let's come here into the United States. Well, not quite the United States. It's sort of the United States. Do you know what's going on in the Guantanamo Bay prison right now, where we hold the worst of the worst of the worst? Let me share a few things.
Oh, I have a very good idea.
Early evening tea service?
Let me share.
What are we doing? Go ahead.
Guantanamo Bay, where is it? Anybody know where it is?
Yes,
Cuba.
Been there 4 times.
You've been there, Mark?
4 times.
Tell us about it.
Well, Guantanamo Bay is in Cuba, obviously, and it's actually a military base given to us by...
The people want to see you when you're
Oh, well, yeah, all right.
Why are they looking at me when you're talking?
I don't know.
There you go.
Because you're the star.
That's a nice color on you, by the way.
Yeah, well, you know what the color is, actually? Is for the Vaughn Swim.
We went to that over the weekend.
Vaughn over the
Yeah,
weekend, that's right.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Guantanamo Bay, really quick, in a nutshell, is an American military base. It's been a military base for years, back in the 80s. So that's when I went, before it became a prison. And it is actually a land that we have from Cuba, that we send them $1 million check every year, but Fidel rips it up and throws it away. And it all goes back to the Bay of Pigs, but it's been there for a long, long time, and it's a very hot and desolate place. Trust me,
It's a wonderful place for the scum jihadis
It
of the
is
earth.
Club Med for
Club
jihadis
Med.
is what it
Yeah,
is.
you don't want to go
Club
there.
Med? What are you talking? Club Med's like a fancy, nice kind of place.
That's what this is.
Well, let's. It's almost 4th of July. Today's July 1st at 46 or so, 47 minutes after 5 o'clock. A couple more days for 4th of July. And on 4th of July, we raise a what? What kind of flag?
A banner of surrender?
What kind of, yes, a white. What
Not
kind of
a white
flag
flag.
do we wave?
An American flag.
An American flag.
There you
Oh,
go.
no, we don't. Not
No
in
flag for
Guantanamo.
you.
No flag for you.
Listen to this, taxpayers of America. Listen to this, supporters of the Obama administration. The jihadis were offended by seeing the American flag flying outside the perimeter of the fence and complained. Guess what the United States did?
They took it down.
They took it down.
They took it down.
Well, that is offensive. Isn't it
I
offensive?
would almost not believe that, except
Abdullah, isn't
it
the
gets
American
worse.
flag offensive in a Muslim country?
What kind of question is that? Of course.
In 2007, George Bush, who bears some culpability on this nonsense, 2007, when there were like about 300 jihadis there, I think there's 165 left. They have to eat halal food. What is halal food, Abdullah?
That would be similar to kosher for your little co-host up there.
Not even close.
It is food suitable for the eating by Muslim. No, obviously no pork or pork product.
Special dietary stuff.
Animals must be killed a certain way.
Okay. Well, in 2007, all the civil rights activists and all of this got it approved for the jihadis at Guantanamo to eat halal food. Muslim approved dietary food.
What is problem with this?
Well, they gained a lot of weight. Okay, they were actually getting chubby from eating all of the food.
Right.
So, in terms of,
I know the story you're talking about. I can't wait.
So now they have an
for you to
exercise
tell.
program. It really is Club Med.
They wanted to exercise, so the U.S. brought in treadmills.
Oh, good.
Okay. Now, how stupid is this? All right. They want to exercise, so they bring in treadmills. Okay.
What
we
happened to
give them
the
treadmills.
hunger strike?
Yeah.
That's now. This is 2007, 2008, 2009.
So
Actually,
about-
2007, 2008. Okay, so far so good. All right, you want treadmills?
We're in
Well,
treadmills.
the treadmills were made in the U.S. of A.
Oh, so they worked?
They were infidel treadmills.
The jihadis refused to work out on treadmills made in the U.S. of A. So guess what we did?
We imported them from Saudi Arabia.
Yes. We gave those treadmills to our guys over there and imported treadmills from Muslim countries.
What is the problem with that?
I was going to...
All right, I'm going to break my own machine here. But, they were made by infidels. Paul Sperry, a good friend of ours.
Why are we appeasing terrorists?
Paul Sperry said in a recent article in the New York Post, he said, Guantanamo, Gitmo, is no longer a prison camp. It's a state-sponsored madrasa. And Paul Sperry is an investigative reporter. He said, Guantanamo Bay inmates are some of the most pampered prisoners on the planet. We took all the stuff out, made them a soccer field because they had to play soccer.
Yeah.
It was over $100,000, if I'm not mistaken, for that soccer field.
Well, a little bit. $750,000 soccer field. They have a 10,000 Islamic book library and videos. 10,000.
What do you need all of that for? You only need one.
Here's the problem. We can't touch the books or the videos. So we had to hire a Muslim librarian to manage the books and videos. This is not the white-collar criminals that confiscated some money. These are jihadis that have slit the throat of Jews, Christians, American soldiers, and others. We hired a Muslim librarian, and they have their own clerics to preach in Arabic. Everybody gets a Quran, a paperback or hardback, with little hammocks to keep their holy book from touching infidel ground when not in use. They won't lay it down on the ground.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Guards are prohibited from handling any of the Muslim books, and it is costing per year per prisoner. Take a wild guess.
$200,000.
Well, it's got to be $1 million or more.
800,000.
You're kidding me. 800,000. I did not know this.
$800,000 per
per prisoner. How many prisoners are there?
I think it's 165 left.
Wow.
So it's almost $150 million just for the prisoners. They're going to build a new facility there, and to placate them even more.
I'd like to build them a
this
facility
just-
myself.
This just gives people ideas of, why don't we...
I got an idea.
Never mind closing down Gitmo. Why don't we just blow it up?
Well, here's the problem. They're not on U.S. ground, so they don't get U.S. constitutional. Once their foot goes on U.S. ground, they're protected by the Constitution.
I didn't say to bring them here. I said
Well,
to
I
blow
know.
it up.
So
Like with them in it.
We're all fighting. Don't bring them the Thompson. Don't bring them the Supermax. Don't bring them
Right.
here. Leave them there. But none of us are saying, we do this nonsensical stuff. You can't
White
release
glove
them.
treatment.
I say bring them here, but they got to
Pedicures.
swim.
Do they get pedicures there or what?
I was going to... Yeah.
They that's interesting with their bizarre sex lives, with what's going on with that.
Ooh.
And that's not being published at this point. But
Oh, man.
you add this to the. I got to tell you about my IRS idea. So anyway, that's the mess at.
And don't forget about
Gitmo.
Lady Gaga.
And that
We do have
is
to get to Lady
Sharia.
We gotta get to Lady
That
Gaga.
is submitting to Sharia.
All right,
That's,
it's
that's what it's all
53
about. That's our
totally.
government submitting to Sharia.
Just like the UK is. It's all one big happy jihad family. I'll tell you real quickly about my idea. I posted it on my Facebook page, and it went nuts. I mean, people are going, "Yeah, let's do it! Yeah." We're switching gears here now to the decision by SCOTUS, Supreme Court of the United States, last week, to essentially legalize gay marriage in California, New York, federal benefits of the 7 or 8 states, and open the door for a comprehensive interpretation of the law for all the states. I said, why don't we do this? You know, I mean, let's if you can't beat them, join them. Why don't we, inheritance tax, when somebody dies and, it goes to their kids or whatever, and it's taxed at 50, 60, 70%. I got a great way to avoid legally inheritance tax for you wealthy people. All you have to do if you're 85 years old and you got one foot in the grave and the other on a banana peel, all you got to do is marry your 35-year-old auto mechanic.
A man.
Or your cousin. Or whoever you want to get the
Doesn't
money.
matter what sex.
Doesn't matter. You go to New York, California, one of the other states, you get married, non-sexual, has nothing to do with it. It's a paper marriage that meets the requirements of federal law. All your assets are transferred to your spouse. No tax at all. And I broke this out into 5 or 6 points. I put it up and said, what do you guys think of this idea? People went nuts. They go, my dog. I want to will everything to my dog. That'll happen soon.
Well, marriage has nothing to do with love or commitment or anything. It's so up in the air, airy fairy thing.
If the federal government says, "Whoa, that's not a legitimate marriage," they're doing the exact opposite.
What are you talking about?
What they said they can't do.
When their money is at risk, and they do see our money as their money.
Yep.
That's when they perk up.
We're going to develop this idea. Actually, a friend of ours
We
gave
should
it to
start
me.
a service for people to link up together.
Ooh, we may have found a way. You got Gaga
And if there
there?
are any 85-year-old women out there who don't have anyone to leave there.
There you go.
Now, to show all our Patriot friends, Tea Party community, hi everybody out there. We got for the Tea Party community, we got a special song for you.
National anthem.
Let's play this last part. Lady Gaga. Here we go.
Our flag was still there.
She's holding up the gay flag.
Does that star-spangled flag of pride?
Gay of pride. The gay flag of pride still wave.
Lady Gaga, gay flag. Listen carefully.
I didn't recognize her with her clothes
Lovely.
The land of the free and home of the gay. Home for the gay.
Yeah.
And were the gay flags still waves?
I
didn't know the national anthem had those words in it, Tom. I got to research that more because I've never heard that. Those maybe it's a second lyrics. You know how they have different stanzas, and maybe that's what Francis Scott Key actually wrote. Was that
Could be.
It could be like a second.
What
version
we'll do, because this is a busy week, 4th of July. We got a lot of fascinating information. Pamela Geller tomorrow. On Wednesday, we have an atheist coming on, talking about the new monument that was put up in Stark, Florida, over against the Ten Commandments. Or they're an atheist monument. He's coming on, and we're going to have sort of a debate discussion with him. He thinks anybody who's religious is nuts. That's Wednesday. Thursday, our special on 4th of July. Friday, a debate between myself and a rabbi on the Iranian situation. Next week, we have Philippe Carcente of the Aldura case.
Oh, good.
And a few others. But we will get into the SCOTUS decision, the gay issue, just from a cultural perspective, whether or not this is good or bad for society, from a factual, material perspective. Right now, though, I think that's the end of our show.
We should end it properly.
We should end it properly.
For the land of the free and for the gay.
Bye-bye, America.
Indeed.
Bye-bye, America.